Okay, so quick reminder, where we left off yesterday, they were talking about damming a river, and we wanted to make it very clear that all elementary school students knew that that's like blocking a river. So right here, there's going to be a word where I'm going to say, you know, if you dam it, they will come in. And what we're talking about is damming up a river, blocking a river so which to make a lake. And we know that us living here in Jamestown, we have the Jamestown Reservoir, which was created when they blocked off and dammed up the James River, right?
Yeah.
So the James River flows down to Jamestown, where they built the dam across the front of the reservoir. I'm sure you guys have all driven across it if you've lived here for more than a year. And right now I don't have time for stories. And then on the other side of the dam, we let the water out and the river continues, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what they're talking about there. We wanted to make sure that we were very clear on that. I'm probably not going to do all the crazy voices today. I said maybe tomorrow if we have time, we can, tomorrow and Friday we can read it and I can assign parts. But today I'm probably just going to read it normal, okay?
Yeah.
So Hap playing Gunther says, I thought, you know, if you dam it, they will come. Because they're talking about fish and there being no fish in the lake. Dolores playing somebody named Amity says, the fish? They'll have to crawl through the forest to get here. But you got to admit, the dam helped. Amity, oh, that pathetic creek looks like a real river now. But Gunther, what if the settlers find out? Good point. What do we got going on, guys? Okay. Let's just, everyone get to our seats. Make sure you're following along. Hap, as Gunther shrugs and says, good point. Jasmine, Mitch, you can't put that on stage. Why not? Because it's not true. That's why not. Holding up a book she has dug out of her backpack. I've read all the way through the history of Riverside, and I know it's not in here. Besides, Gunther Isaacs was a founding father. He would never. Mitch says, I got it off the internet. Look, I got a printout. He digs in his backpack and finds several pages of printout. He hands them to Jasmine. Jasmine scans the article quickly. Another tale told of Gunther Isaac, but probably an apocryphal one. Ooh, that's a tough word. Apocryphal. Your turn.
Apocryphal.
Don't you know what that means? Mitch, I thought it meant like secret. No, it means, oh, wait a minute. She digs in her backpack to find her electronic dictionary. She punches in the word and reads the screen. It means a doubtful authorship or authenticity. See, it's made up. Mitch says, well, so? Dolores says, I think what Jasmine is getting at, Mitch, is that it's a lie. It is a good story, though. Hap, but this is a play about history. Carrie says, do you think anybody will know the difference? Dolores says, I think a lot of the audience will know about the town's history. Okay, 243. Jasmine waves her book and says, some of them might even have read the history of Riverside. Mitch says, but face it, Gunther Isaacs was a shady character. Dolores says, you're saying he was
Dishonest?
Very good. If he was, at least he wasn't dull. Jasmine, the scene's out, and that's final. Mitch says, if the scene's out, I'm out. And if you can't use scene, and you can't use scene one either. Ooh, boy. Okay, so I know, and you guys should know this too because we've gone over it, that prefixes and suffixes are things that are added to words. Prefixes are added to the front or back of words?
Front.
Prefixes are in the front of words. Suffixes are added to the back of words, yes?
Yes.
So I look at the word dishonest. And I know that the prefix dis means not. So the word dishonest then means
Not honest.
very good. Okay. So, is the scene that Mitch wrote true? Talk with a partner. Ready?
No. Not that is straight no. It's
No, I did give one though, right?
No,
When I went to get the
fish can't crawl.
snacks. So it might have been a good time to try and use it, right?
It's not true.
Okay, what evidence, I'm hearing a lot of, no, it's not true. What evidence from the story helped you draw that conclusion? What evidence from the story helps you draw the conclusion that his story isn't true? Braden. Okay, I appreciate your honesty. Rajan.
Because it said that word
Apocryphal? Keep on, you're doing a good job.
and he made up that, and Mitch made up that.
Okay, so they use the word apocryphal, or apocryphal. Boy, I'm having a hard time saying that word myself. Apocryphal. Sorry. You guys remember that word?
Yeah.
What did apocryphal mean?
It's fake. It's not true.
It means of doubtful authorship. That means the person who wrote it probably is doubtful. It's doubtful that the thing they're saying is true. So that helps us to know that it's probably not based on fact. On page 243, they use the word shady. What does the word shady mean in this context? Think about it. Think about it. On page 243, what does it mean when they use the word shady? Autumn.
Probably, for shady, it probably means like sad, maybe.
Okay. When it says that Gunther Isaacs was a shady character, what does the shady mean?
It means that he wasn't probably very good or shy.
Okay, so shady probably means like dishonest or
Mysterious.
probably a crafty person who's trying to get away with something. Shady characters are usually liars. Okay, now we're going to analyze. I want you guys to think about back to yesterday. How is Jasmine's reaction to Mitch's scene kind of like Mitch's reaction to Jasmine's scene? Okay, I got some of you that aren't listening. Maybe that's the next move we make. So, in this one, I want you to think about how Mitch's reaction to Jasmine's scene is like Jasmine's reaction to Mitch's and how they're different. Yeah, think back to yesterday. How did Jasmine react to Mitch's scene today, and how did Mitch react to Jasmine's? Talk with a partner. Discuss. Go.
Jasmine reacted to Mitch's scene, so it wasn't that and they thought Mitch was confused. Jasmine was kind of being kind of confused. She thought because like Lori, she thought that were on
And she thinks his is actually like yeah, she was like she wants it to be about history. She can't put it on stage.
Okay, how is their reactions the same? How is their reactions the same, Hadley?
The reactions were the same because they both didn't like each other's scenes.
Very good. Neither one liked each other's scenes. How are they different, though? Maddie?
Because Jasmine didn't like Mitch's scene because his was more modern and Mitch.
Not so much that it was more modern. Well, you didn't. Yeah, you're right. She didn't like the modern part of it. But what part was probably the most troublesome? Not just that he threw in modern things, but also that it's not
real.
It's not true. It's not based on truth. Why didn't Mitch like Jasmine's?
Because it was more history, and I don't think he really liked history.
In fact, he said it was what?
Boring.
He said it was boring. Okay? Very good. You guys did a nice job with that. Taking a look at this next page. Hap says, "Come on, Mitch. We all worked on that scene together." Mitch says, "Well then, I'll just take back the lines I wrote." Dolores says, "That's silly. You can't just take back some lines." Mitch, "Sure I can. They're my lines, so who's with me?" Hap says, "Mitch, don't do this." Mitch says, "Whose side are you on, Hap? Come on." Dolores, "This isn't about sides." Mitch says, "Sure it is." Angie is going to say that. Angie says, "Will you all stop this?" They all fall silent and look at her. "I'm sorry, but my mom's a family counselor, and if there's one thing I've learned, it's how to settle
Arguments.
That's a lot of hooey. Angie says, "No, it isn't." Dolores says, "Be quiet, Mitch." Carrie, "Me, I enjoy a good argument." Dolores says, "We can tell." Angie says, "You can talk about what you really want, but then you really have to listen." Jasmine, "Mitch, why do you want to put on this skit?" Jasmine says, "Well, I guess I want to bring history alive." Mitch says, "I want people to be
Entertaining.
Angie, does the skit have to have this scene to be entertaining? Mitch's comment is, "I was just trying to add a little." Angie says, "Well then, can't we all work together?" Mitch says, "Look, we don't need another lecture on teamwork." Carrie says, "Yeah, when I hear the word teamwork, I just want to..."
Punch somebody.
That's a weird reaction to teamwork. Dolores says, "Look, I've got an idea. If this story is about damming up the creek, is made up?" She took the same route that I kind of wanted to. She's trying to say apocryphal. And when I first saw it, I was like, "Oh boy, I wasn't ready for that word." So Dolores is trying to say apocryphal, but she goes, made up. You guys get what she did?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of funny. "Why does the website even run it?" Angie says, "Well, they do say the story probably isn't true." Do this one? No. "So why can't we do the same thing? Then we could keep Mitch's scene." Mitch says, "Yeah, we could have the narrator say, there's another story about Gunther Isaacs. Some say it's true." Jasmine says, "Some say it's true, and some say it's..." But we say, "It's a good..."
Story.
"Yes," Hap says. Carrie says, "Write that down." Mitch does so. Angie Can we move on now? Dolores says, yes! Hap says, would you like to hear my scene? Mitch says, I suppose we've got to. Jasmine says, if we're really cooperating now. Miss Keeler enters. Teamwork, yes! Carrie quickly and secretly punches Mitch's arm. When he hears about teamwork, Carrie always wants to punch. It's not funny. You shouldn't punch. It's naughty in school.
Sometimes hit the person's arm, so I kind of get it, but I'm thinking I don't.
But you shouldn't do it. That's nutty.
Yeah, I know.
Hands and feet too.
Yourself.
Yeah. Good. Don't even fake it. Miss Keeler not noticing. So that's so important when you're doing this sort of thing. How are things going? Angie says, we hit a
Snake.
We hit a
Snag.
Remember, a snag is something that gets in the way or blocks your path or a holdup, right? So they had a holdup in their play. But we solved it. Miss Keeler says, good. We're going to have a great show. Dixie's tap dancing to the Star Spangled Banner is going to bring down the house. Now tell me, I hope you're all contributing to this script. Dolores says, yes, we've all been working
Together.
very good. Okay. On page 234, or 243 and 244, Mitch threatens to quit the play if they cut his scene. This leads me to ask, why would Mitch want to quit the play? Why do you guys think Mitch wants to quit? What was his reason for quitting? Blake, what's his reason for quitting?
Cause like he really wants to use his scene, and if they don't, then he doesn't want to participate in it.
Okay. Why is he so passionate about them using his scene? Why does he want them to use it so badly? Blake.
Because he thinks it's a really, really good scene.
He thinks it's a really good scene. Anybody else something to add? Chase.
He thinks it gives the play a little bit of like fun in it and not just completely boring.
Okay.
Not completely boring.
He wants to add a little bit of fun to the play. Specifically in the form of what? He wants it to be humorous. Very good. Okay. What kind of person do we think Angie is? We're going to draw some conclusions about Angie. What kind of person do we think Angie is? Talk with a partner. 3, 2, 1. Look, listen, lower your volume. Go. Mackenzie, you got to get closer so you can lean and lower your volume. Thank you, Chase.
They should just have their books and hold them, and then they can just stay like that.
Very good. Right. Okay, Parker.
Not reading a book.
What conclusion did you draw about Angie?
She's a more caring person and wants everyone to have fun and work together.
Okay. So what did you say that you recognized about her?
She doesn't like fights, and also she's pretty caring.
Okay, she doesn't like fights and she's caring. Someone else. Macy, what did you guys come up with?
She's kind of independent.
Kind of independent? I think what you maybe mean by independent, if I'm drawing a conclusion, is maybe she's responsible. Yeah, like or mature. She has a maturity about her. Delia, what did you guys say?
Kind of like nice and a little quiet.
Okay, at first she is kind of quiet, and it says that because it says in a surprisingly sharp voice. So she probably doesn't usually talk like she did on page 244, does she? Okay. Anybody else? Something else groundbreaking they want to share? Braxton.
She might be like kind of like a counselor, a little like that.
It says her mom is a counselor and she's learned from her. Okay? Mackenzie.
I think she's a little shy on stage because like for like 2 or 3 pages she wasn't in there, and then she's like kind of the hero of the story because she just stepped up and solved the problem for everyone fighting.
Okay, so maybe she's a bit quiet, but I don't know if she's shy because she sure came out of her shell there. I would say she's probably a pretty good leader, right? And she wants everyone to work together. So she's kind of helping everybody resolve their problems. There's no words on this one. We just got this picture of this guy with holes in his shoes looking at the ground. Maybe it'll answer it for us. So we're on page 247. And this is our last bit of the book.
Wow, nice shoes.
Hap says, now we're going to read my scene. Miss Keeler says, Hap, did you write about your ancestor Cornelius Hapgood? Hap says, yes, I
did.
Miss Keeler says, I'm so glad. Kids, I don't know if you know this, but Hap's family are
Descendants.
Now, descendants means people born of a family. So you're all descendants of the families that you were born into or possibly adopted into. We talked about that yesterday. Hap's family are descendants of Riverside's earliest settlers. Carrie says, the buffalo? Do you think Hap's family is descendants of buffalo? No.
They could be.
Hap says, no, my great, 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 I don't know how many greats, grandfather was Cornelius
Hapgood.
Angie says, wow, that's great, Hap. Who's Cornelius Hapgood, Dolores asks. Hap says, he opened Riverside's first shoe store for people and
Horses.
Dolores says, okay, so what's your scene about, Hap? Hap responds, picture this. The curtain rises. Sunset. Cornelius Hapgood is talking to his faithful horse, Bucket Mouth. Angie says, Bucket Mouth? Jasmine says, wait a minute. Where are we going to get a horse? Hap says, good point. Okay. Picture this. The curtain rises. Sunset. Cornelius Hapgood walks on stage, talking to himself. Reads as Cornelius, oh, my dogs are tired. Carrie says, dogs? I thought he had a horse. Hap says, they're his feet. Okay, picture this. Curtain rises. Carrie says, I know, sunset, dogs, feet. Get on with it. Hap says, in Cornelius' voice, yeah, Pim wore out my shoes down to my socks. Where can a person buy full-grain leather shoes that are rugged yet stylish? Mitch says, Miss Keeler, I think we're going to need another hour or two. Hap, as Cornelius says, I'm talking comfortable, yet affordable. Maybe a waterproof moccasin with fringes, as he talks. The lights fade out. Scene!
The curtains rise.
Okay,
Think critically.
so I know that Miss Keeler wants Hap to write about, so we're looking at this, we want to draw some conclusions. I want you guys to figure out, why do you think Hap writes about Cornelius Hapgood? Why does Hap decide to write about Cornelius Hapgood? You can talk with your partner. Ready, go. Maddie, why do you think he wanted to write about Cornelius Hapgood?
Because he is his great.
Okay, people aren't listening to you, so we'll wait. Why did he want to write about Cornelius Hapgood?
Because that's his great, I don't know how many great grandfathers. How many greats? His grandfather.
So it's a relation to him. Why else might he have wanted to write about him? Braxton.
Because it's like kind of about history, so it goes along with the play.
He's a descendant of some of the first people to live in Riverside, so it's probably historical. Very good. Also, it sounds like he has kind of an interesting story to tell, right?
Yeah.
Hey, why does Mitch tell Miss Keeler that they may need another hour or two? Falcon.
Because he wants to write like an entire like scene or something about his grandpa or grandfather.
Okay. Hadley, why else might they need a couple hours?
Because when he was telling them the first time, they asked where would you get a horse, and he's like, right. The curtain rises, sunset, and then he had to do it again. So she's like, we're gonna need another 2 hours because he's gonna keep doing that over and over again.
Because it seems like there's some things to probably work out in Hap's scene, huh? And they might have to make some compromises again. Very good. Okay. I think what we probably should have taken away from this, if we were going to draw conclusions, is teams can get a lot done if teams work together. Okay, we got one more page to read. We're going to look at the author and the artist here.
And the illustrator?
The author and the illustrator, yes. No, not time for that. Don Abramson and Robert Kozel. Now, Don Abramson became involved in theater as a high school freshman. He directed and acted in plays and designed and built theatrical sets. His plays written for children and adults have been performed in cities in the United States and England. He also enjoyed writing books and lyrics for musical theater. His children's musical, The Well of the Guelphs, was produced in Iowa and Nebraska. Recently, he combined versions of Cinderella from different cultures into a musical entitled Who is Cinderella? Robert Kozel also started working in theater while in high school. Since then, he has acted in local theaters before eventually becoming a high school English teacher. Mr. Kozel says, my students enjoy reading and performing plays, so when I had the chance to work with Don Abramson on Scene 2, I jumped at it. Scene 2 is Mr. Kozel's first play, so they were both the author, I guess.
Mr. Ross.
Which one was which?
I think that this one is probably Robert Kozel, and I think that this guy right here is probably Don Abramson. But I am not 100% sure.
Mr. Ross.
I would say I'm somewhere north of 70% sure, but south of 96% sure. Yes, Braxton.
His Who is Cinderella thing, that kind of sounds like an informational, like, storybook something.
Yeah, I imagine it's probably supposed to be funny.
They're both authors.
They're both the authors, yes.
By
Very
Don Edmondson and Robert Cobb.
good point. Delia.
If you look on the bubble, you can see different colors. And that might be their name. Because in the
Oh, yeah.
there's colors.
Could be.
Well, no, it says meet the author.
Well, she's saying that if you look here, this is like blue, and that's kind of in purplish blue, and this is in red, so maybe this guy's the...
Oh, yeah.
But it says authors. With
Yep,
an
it
S.
does say authors, so these guys are both authors. We've established that. We're just trying to... All she's saying is that this color matches this outline on the picture, so that's probably Don Abramson, and this color matches Robert Kozel, so it's probably Robert Kozel. It's a good observation, Delia. Blake.
Another thing that might point you in the right direction for that, it says in this that he makes play sets, and the Don Abramson, right, makes play sets, and the guy in the top is holding like a White House structure thing.
I think it's a cake, isn't it?
No,
No, that's a lighthouse.
Oh, okay.
At first it looked like a cake to me.
Yeah, it kind of
It
does.
looks like a big
Okay, we're putting our name, number, and date on this draw conclusion side. Then I'm going to go over it. People at home, it's page 83. Down at the bottom it says DVD 83, draw conclusions. Put your name, number, and date on the top. Name, number, and date on the top. You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Done.
Name, number, and date at the top. Man, I'm running low on these.
Right, need to go make.
I might have to, Chase, don't write on yours yet. I might have to make a copy of yours, actually. Never mind. I have an extra one. You're good, Chase. Excellent. Excellent.
Excellent.
Okay, it's this page right here.
Me and Chase think
It
of the
says-
same thing.
DVD 83 at the bottom. Up the top it says draw conclusions.
Excellent. Excellent.
We're all going to read through this so we know what we're doing. Up at the top it says, I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. Hopefully I can still keep everything in. Drawing conclusions is forming an opinion based on what you already know or on the facts and details in the text. Fact and details are the small pieces of information in an article or story. Next bullet point. Facts and details add up to a conclusion. Conclusions formed by the author or the reader must make sense. And we talked about that you can't draw a conclusion about that play and be like, they think they should take a trip to Mars. Well, that wouldn't have made sense. It has nothing to do with the story. It needs to make sense. So it wants you to read this following passage. I'm going to read it, but first we're going to read through the questions, and you can always look back. Number 1 says, draw a conclusion about the 1980 Olympic hockey competition. 2 says, what detail or details supports this conclusion? In a few of your own words, describe how the U.S. coach trained his team. Number 4, what details support this description? Now, I'm going to read to you. You should be following along. No one believed the hockey team from the United States would do well in the 1980 Olympic Winter Games. The players were a bunch of college students and amateur players. Their bitterest rivals, the team from the Soviet Union, were professional athletes who had no other work but playing hockey. The Soviets were huge and fast. They had also won 6 out of the last 7 Olympic championships. The young U.S. team would need a miracle on ice to win. The U.S. coach had picked players he knew didn't get along. This created a sense of competition when the team practiced. He also showed his players hours of video from earlier games the Soviet team had played. His team learned how their opponents thought. The hockey players skated up and down the ice over and over, building their strength. Just before the match between the two teams, the Soviets rested. The U.S. team kept practicing. For the last 10 minutes, the crowd cheered, USA! USA! Louder and louder. The team won the game 4-3 and went on to earn an Olympic gold medal. Okay. What conclusion about the 1980 Olympic hockey competition? Draw a conclusion about the 1980 Olympic hockey competition. Now, before you write that down, you have to remember you need details to support it. go ahead and see if you can come up with a conclusion. You need some details to support it.
Then we write it down.
Yeah. Eva, what was the conclusion you drew?
I'm kind of still working on it.
Do you have an idea, though, that you could share?
Not really.
Okay, so you have no idea.
No, I'm still looking at it.
Okay. Gavin, did you draw any conclusion about the 1980 Olympic hockey?
They left and now they tried to bring back in, so
Oh, so they probably missed it. Macy, what was your conclusion?
The team, the USA hockey team was determined.
Okay, the U.S. hockey team was determined. Did anybody have something else? What's your evidence for that, Macy?
Because the other team stopped and they just kept going.
Okay. Mackenzie, we're right in the middle of doing work. You know, like 45 minutes ago I gave a bathroom break, right? Did you use it then? Okay, you're going to have to wait a few minutes till we finish this side. Anybody else have a conclusion they want to share? Parker.
A team can win if they put in a lot of hard work.
Okay? So we want a specific one though, so you might say that the U.S. team won because they put in a lot of hard work. What's your evidence for that?
They over the last few minutes they trained.
They kept training right up to the very end. Rajan, how about you?
The U.S. hockey team obviously did practice and lunch break.
Okay, because of their preparation. Okay, Braxton.
no one believed the U.S. hockey team would win.
Okay, that's a good. That's the closest that I've heard to being in the book. Not that the other ones were bad. That is, they were conclusions, and you had evidence. What's your evidence for that, Braxton?
The players were a bunch of college students, and amateurs.
Yep, and playing against pros. Very good. Hadley.
The competitors were excited and trying to win an Olympic gold medal.
Okay, they were determined to win. What's your evidence?
That the hockey players they kept practicing for the last 10 minutes.
Okay. Mackenzie.
No one believed the U.S. team until they won.
No one believed the U.S. what?
The U.S. hockey team until they won.
Okay, people didn't think they were going to win. Okay, what was your evidence?
It was that they no one believed the team from the United States would do well in the 1980 Olympic Winter Games.
Good, that's good evidence. Okay, number 3 says, in a few of your own words, describe how the U.S. coach trained his team. Make sure you have evidence. Describe how the coach trained his team, and then supply evidence for number 4. Okay, we're doing number 3 now. Write down how he trained his team. Well, I see some of us didn't have number 2 done yet. Okay. How did the coach train their team? Braden.
He made them skate on the ice for a while.
Made them skate up and down the ice for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
What was your evidence?
They got used to the ice.
Okay. You got used to the ice. What else did it do? It literally says in there to build up.
Strength.
Very good. Eva, what did you put down?
Like made them skate a long time and like build up strength.
Okay. Skating a long time. Anybody have something different? Delia.
He had the team practice and watch videos, and then for my supporting veto I put, he also showed his 10 hours of video.
Excellent. Very good. All right. So we're going to go over to the back now. Hopefully you finished that. The back is a spelling worksheet, just like we always do. You're proofreading a brochure. You guys can finish that up. I want to go over this spelling, and then you can go back and finish that up if you want. Proofread a travel brochure. Check the brochure before it goes to the printer. Circle 6 misspelled words. Write the words correctly, then correct the sentence fragment. Now that's for number 7 is the sentence fragment. Normally one of these frequently misspelled words is also one of the ones that's going to be up here, okay?
What does fragment mean?
Fragment means it's part of a sentence. It's not a complete sentence. So if I had my dad and I, that's just the subject. Or if I had I went to the store, or excuse me, went to the store, that's part of a sentence fragment. I don't have a subject. Okay, questions on that? Down at the bottom, you're finishing the words, filling in the missing letters here. It's either an AR or an OR, and then you're writing the word correctly on the line. If it needs to be capitalized, there's only a few that should be capitalized. Questions, comments, or concerns?
I have one.
Yeah,
Is 7 extra credit?
it always is. Okay, people on the Zoom, questions, comments, or concerns?